Ladies and gentlemen, something very interesting happened in Jamaica's parliament during the budget discussions, and it involves a heated exchange between opposition MP Damion Crawford and the minister with responsibility for works, Robert Morgan. Now the discussion started off with a simple question about drainage and road infrastructure. But it quickly turned into a much bigger debate about the Spark Road Rehabilitation Program and whether the government is doing enough to fix Jamaica's road network. Crawford raised a point that caught a lot of attention. He basically urged that if Jamaica has around 27,000 kilometers of roads, and the Spark program is targeting about 1,200 kilometers, then that's roughly only 4% of the entire road network. And when that number came up, you could immediately feel the tension in the room. The minister pushed back, saying that the opposition was looking at the numbers the wrong way and that Spark is not the only program fixing roads across the island. So today, we are going to break down exactly what happened in this exchange, what both sides are arguing, and what this really means for the Jamaican public.
Thank you, Minister.
Yes, Member Leader. Crawford and then Member No?
The President.
Member Crawford, you're by
I'm on.
There's one beside.
Hines and then Hines and then...
No, so it's not Hines first. So Member Crawford, then Member Russell, and then Member Hines, and
Thank you.
then Member Brownberg. In the sequence of your mic coming on, I saw your mic on for a while, but it's not coming on, so.
Today are Minister's Day, okay? Minister, I want to start with a concern.
Senior or junior?
Wow. I have two educationists tomorrow.
Member Crawford have two questions.
No, Assessor. Not many though, not many. But Northwest St. Catherine is affected by the highway. And the highway have very excellent drains that end in the communities. Who is responsible for the damage or for the appropriate drainage that should take the water coming from off the highways into these communities without equal level of drainage? Where is that in the budget? Yes, where is that in the budget?
Are you asking for, you need to ask me a specific question. I cannot speak in generality because we have many highways in Jamaica.
Well, the highway to Otrias, what's it called again? Oh, the Edward Siaga Highway.
The one that empty.
The Edward Siaga Highway.
The one that that one.
Is it the what I'm trying to understand, is it the purview of the owners of the highway, or is it the purview of the government as it relates to those outlets of water into our communities?
So the operators of the highway are the ones who maintain the drainage. We have not been made aware of any adverse situations. If you have any, you could surely reach out to us.
Also, I'll have to write to you directly.
No, you can write to NROC. You can call me. I'm always available, as you know.
All right, so we'll write. But so NROC is the duty of the areas within the community that the water lets off the highway. You're saying that is the duty of NROC to...
NROC is not the operator of the highway, you know.
So I'm still asking whose duty it is for those areas.
What I'm saying to you, member, is if you have a specific issue that you're noticing, just reach out to me and I'll reach out to NROC and we will address it as best as possible.
All right, no problem. Minister, there are some low areas in communities that depend on sinkholes and almost like water catchments. But throughout the budget, we saw gully cleaning and all of that, but we saw nothing for sinkhole maintenance and those lowlands like Linstead. Yes. Yes, a lot of sinkholes is in Linstead. And soakaways. Yes.
That's what we call them, sinkhole.
The people up in Ty Dixon call it sinkhole. They need to understand of my lobby.
So, thank you very much, member. And I know that you reached out to me last year about some of your sinkholes.
Yes.
So, we can offer some technical assistance, but you would know that a large percentage of these features are the jurisdiction of the local authorities. But the NWA is always willing to examine them from a technical perspective and assist where we can.
Okay. All right, Minister. I want to go back to something you said following up on the member from Central Westmoreland. Am I correct that you said we have 27,000 kilometers of road?
26 to 27.
Right. And did we hear you say that approximately what percent of those are in some state of disrepair?
But that's difficult to assess because a majority of those, a majority,
That's an estimate percent.
a majority of the roads that are in Jamaica are not under the jurisdiction of the agency of which I oversee. A majority of them are under the jurisdiction of the municipal corporation
With
and other agencies and private roads and so on. So I would not be able to tell you the state of disrepair for a majority of the roads which are not all.
No, but Minister, you do have a program called Spark that is seeking to deal with all roads.
No.
Not just yours.
No. We have a program called Spark that is dealing with roads that were recommended in consultation, 10 per constituency, where members of parliament, opposition persons, councillors, civil society groups sat down in a room with the residents and they made recommendations, and those are the roads, not all roads.
Okay, is that they reserved to a particular type of road, those recommendations?
So they were for parochial roads.
Which is parish council roads.
That is correct.
So therefore, I'm still asking, because you have a program that is to encapsulate both parish council and NWA roads, for which you have indicated that you are fixing both. Do you have any idea of the percentage that is in disrepair?
No, I don't.
All right. Did you indicate, therefore, that you thought that the 250 kilometers was incorrect and your correction was 12,000 or 1,200?
1,200.
Minister, when you made that response, I thought it is something that you should just take a look back at the numbers. The percentage looks like something maybe off with it when you divide that by the 26,000. And I think we should leave that.
You're asking my...
No,
I don't understand.
I think
You're in the math class.
because it's the second time I've had the concern.
Madam Chairperson, the 26 cannot be divided into the 12.
No.
The 1,200 was the 630.
In total, the first time, in the first session, and then went to 1,200 with the correction and the division.
I suspect we will review it.
So I think we should go back to that afterwards, yeah.
So, Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if you're offering the answer, but okay. So we're confirmed that we have 27,000 kilometers of roads. Current conversation is that the Spark program is targeting 1,200.
No. 630 municipal roads.
Kilometers.
630 individual municipal roads. 63 main roads, cumulatively 1,200 kilometers of road.
I think we're on the same page. So you are targeting to improve 1,200 kilometers of road?
Under the Spark program?
Yes, under the Spark program. So do you recognize that that is a 4% of the total roads that you have identified?
Yes, if your assumption is that the only program repairing roads in Jamaica is Spark, which would be a gross inaccuracy.
Would you agree, Minister, that the Spark is the dominant investment as it relates to road infrastructure over the next 3 years?
No. That's what was touted by. We're spending more on capital projects cumulatively than on Spark.
But is Spark the dominant program?
It cannot be the dominant when we're spending more on capital projects. We're fixing Auto-Wind Drive, we're fixing Hellshire, we're fixing Grange Lane, we're fixing Mobile Perimeter Road, we're fixing Brayton, we're fixing Long Hill, Barnett Street, and there are also other programs under the National Works Agency, routine maintenance, where we're fixing roads. So Spark is not the dominant program. As a matter of fact, if you add up all the money that we're spending on roads in Jamaica, it's more than what we're spending with Spark.
Okay, all right, I'll accept that. Minister, you indicated that the contract was signed in 2004. Work started in March 2025.
2024.
2024, and work started in March 2025. The first 2 years you indicated, Minister, was for actual works, and the final year, the third year, was to ensure that the work was completed in appropriate manner.
That's
Am
not
I
what
correct?
I said.
Can
That's
you
not what
remind
I
us?
said. The first 2 years will be where work is done. The third year is a defects liability period. But based on the contract, I will add to you that work can happen in the defects liability period as well.
Okay, so
But
works.
it's a 2-year contract.
Okay. Is there any obligation to the government if we miss that period?
If who misses that period?
If we are
Before we get into the debate, it's important to understand the context. Jamaica has one of the largest road networks in the Caribbean, with tens of thousands of kilometers of roads connecting towns, rural communities, and major economic hubs. But for years, road maintenance has been a major political issue. Many communities complain about poorly maintained roads, flooding after rainfall, drainage problems, sinkholes, and damaged surfaces. This is where programs like Spark came in. The Spark program is a major road rehabilitation initiative that the government says will improve hundreds of roads across the country. But the opposition has been questioning whether the program is large enough to truly address the scale of the problem. And that is exactly what Damion Crawford stepped in during this parliamentary exchange. Crawford started his question by raising a problem affecting communities in Northwest St. Catherine. He explained that the highways have excellent drainage systems, which is good for the road itself. But the problem is where the water ends up. According to Crawford, many of these drains empty direct into nearby communities, and those communities often don't have proper drainage systems to handle that water. So when heavy rain falls, the water flows off the highway and straight into residential areas. That can lead to flooding, erosion, and property damage. So Crawford asked a very direct question. Who is responsible for managing the drainage once the water leaves the highway? Is it the private highway operator, the government, or local municipal authorities? Minister Robert Morgan responded by saying that the operators of the highway maintain the drainage system. However, he also said the government had not received official reports of major issues and encouraged Crawford to bring specific cases forward so they could be investigated. Now that response is pretty typical in parliamentary debates. The minister basically said, "Bring us the details and we will look into it." But Crawford wasn't finished. Crawford then shifted the conversation to something many rural communities deal with: sinkholes and natural drainage basins. In some parts of Jamaica, especially areas like Linstead, sinkholes act like natural water catchment systems. When it rains heavily, water flows into these sinkholes and helps prevent flooding. But Crawford pointed out something interesting in the national budget. He said he saw funding for gully cleaning, but he did not see specific funding for sinkhole maintenance. That raised another question. If these sinkholes are critical for drainage in certain communities, who is responsible for maintaining them? Minister Morgan explained that many of these natural features fall under jurisdiction of local municipal corporations, not the central government. However, he added that agencies like the National Works Agency can provide technical assistance when needed. So essentially, the responsibility is shared between local authorities and national agencies depending on the situation. But the Crawford moved to the most controversial part of his questioning. And this is where the numbers started flying. Crawford asked the minister to confirm something important. He asked whether Jamaica has about 26,000 to 27,000 kilometers of roads across the island. The minister confirmed that estimate. Then Crawford asked another question. How many kilometers of roads are being improved under the Spark program? The number mentioned during the exchange was around 1,200 kilometers. That's when Crawford did the math. If Jamaica has roughly 27,000 kilometers of roads and Spark is targeting 1,200 kilometers, that equals 4% of the road network. And that's when the tension in the debate increased. Crawford suggested that if the program is only addressing 4% of the roads, then the scale of the investment may not be enough to solve Jamaica's road problems. But Minister Morgan strongly disagreed with that interpretation. He said Crawford's argument assumes that Spark is the only program fixing roads, which he called a gross inaccuracy. Morgan pointed out that the government is also investing in major capital road projects, highway improvements, road rehabilitation projects, routine maintenance by the National Works Agency. According to the minister, when you add all those programs together, the total investment in roads is much larger than the Spark program alone. So in other words, Crawford focused on one program and its percentage, while Morgan argued that the full infrastructure strategy is much broader. This is a classic political debate. The opposition highlights numbers that suggest the government isn't doing enough, while the government emphasizes the bigger picture of spending and projects. Now here is the reality. Both sides are making arguments that many Jamaicans will find relatable. Crawford's point about the size of the road network is important. When you hear that the country has over 26,000 kilometers of roads, it immediately raises the question of whether current programs can keep up with maintenance demands. But Morgan's point is also important. Infrastructure programs rarely operate in isolation. Governments usually run multiple projects at the same time, including maintenance, reconstruction, and large capital investments. So the real question becomes, is the combined investment in road infrastructure enough to improve road conditions across the island? That's the question the public will ultimately judge. At the end of the day, this parliamentary exchange highlights exactly why these budget debates matter. They force ministers to explain their policies and numbers, and they allow opposition members to challenge those policies on behalf of the public. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Spark program is large enough to deal with Jamaica's road problems? Or do you agree with Damion Crawford that the scale of the program might be too small compared to the size of the road network? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy breakdowns like this, where we explain what's really happening in Parliament, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next discussion. Because trust me, Jamaican politics always has another interesting moment right around the corner. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.